Hi, everybody. I got lots to say today. I guess I have lots to say every day. Today's poll question is going to require some explanation. It doesn't have the sex appeal of yesterday's poll question, which was about Jeffrey Epstein and the birthday book, but I love today's poll question, and I give all thanks to the audience because it arises out of a conversation that we had on Tuesday's radio program. Here's what it is. Leave Phillies Karen alone. Leave her alone. Agree or disagree? Michael, that's wacky. What the hell are you talking? I'll explain in just a moment. A couple of preliminary comments. First of all, November 5 is the day that I'm going back to Parks Casino for more stories and cigars and dinner with Smerconish. They've got an elaborate 4-course meal plan with drinks paired with cigars. It was a total hoot last year. People traveled from all over the country. And by the way, not a large audience because we can't have a big group for the kind of intimate event that is planned. And I'm looking forward to it and already preparing the stories that I will tell. It's a very relaxed, off the record kind of evening. The tickets are not bashful. They're like $130 a piece, but it includes all of that. Go to parkscasino.com for details or check my social media. Also, with the Mingle theme in mind, week from tonight at 8 p.m., we'll gather on my YouTube channel. We will mingle together. That's a separate event from Parks, okay? But I want to put it on your radar. And then finally, relative to Parks, this got by me. I don't know how I didn't realize that Philadelphia is in Kansas City this coming Sunday in a big game rematch. The over-under is 46.5. The Birds are a 1-point road fave. I'm not sure how I feel about that. And then Saturday, Penn State and Villanova, Temple and Oklahoma. You can live bet while you watch all the action. My team at BetParks online sportsbook and casino, they've got a great offer for new users. Download the app, open an account, get up to $50 back on your first sports bet. If you don't win, BetParks gives out that bonus, the 50 BetParks coins and 50 bonus spins on the BetParks Collect 'em online slot game. All the details are at betparks.com. Bet college and pro football all season long, as I am doing. There's always another way for you to win. You've got to be 21, located in PA or NJ. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So yesterday, 35,615 votes were cast on this question. We had a lot of fun and some great dialogue yesterday on this. Which is more politically damaging to Donald Trump? His denial of any involvement with the Epstein birthday greeting or the greeting itself? And 77.22% of us, I was in the majority on this one, said it's his denial. It's his denial. I have it somewhere in the stack, but I showed it to you yesterday, and you've all seen it by now. The birthday greeting that he says, like Austin Powers, that's not mine. And now, yeah, here it is. And now, if you're watching on YouTube, and I hope that you are, subscribe to my YouTube channel, there it is. And he says, that's not mine. And meanwhile, like on the front page of today's New York Times, you've got all of these Trump signatures that are being analyzed by handwriting analysts. Like, is that his signature? The point is, if he'd simply have owned it, not by saying it's my handiwork, but it could be, I don't know. I get asked for all sort of greetings. I had people working on this on my staff. It may be mine. It may not be mine. Who cares? We'd be off it. But the president was done a solid, politically speaking, by world events yesterday because he's been spared of more obsession with Epstein today, where Israel, trying to take out Hamas's leadership, executed a strike in Qatar, and Poland shot down Russian drones in its war space. Two big deals that I'll talk about with Admiral Stavridis today on the radio program. But let's talk about Phillies Karen and this wacky poll question of mine. As of this moment in time that I am speaking, she has still not been identified, which is absolutely shocking to me, given the world in which we live and how clear the image was of her taken at that Phillies Marlins game with the kid and his father in the baseball last Saturday night. I have a piece in the newsletter today from Snopes fact-checking a report that she had been identified. And Snopes says, no, the person who's been named is not accurate. I'm not even going to repeat the name because it's an inaccurate name. But two people actually, both of whom reported to be an administrator at a particular New Jersey school district, and the New Jersey school district had to say that's just not true. Quote, the woman identified on social media as Phillies Karen is not, has never been an employee of Buppity Bupp Public Schools located in Buppity Bupp, New Jersey. So that's not true. And then a woman who was identified, and I think TC said this on radio yesterday, said, I am not the crazy Philly mom, but I sure would love to be as thin and move as fast as her. Okay. And then the real role model in all of this is Drew Feltwell, who is the Phillies' dad. And he said, please don't do anything to that lady. Leave it alone. You know, somebody knows her and can talk to her, and that's different. But God, I don't want people breaking into their house and stuff like that. The internet already messed her up pretty good. So I shared most of that on radio yesterday. And I also said, sip of coffee. I also said that I was constantly Googling Phillies Karen because I wanted to see, I was curious to see, like, who is she and what's her station in life and what brought about what we think we saw in that film. So I said that in passing yesterday. This is kind of funny. I think you'll get a kick out of this if you're watching on YouTube, and I hope that you are. What I'm holding in my hand, this is actually very amusing. This is a script. This is a script for the 11:30 commercial yesterday for Rugiet Ready, which is kind of funny, okay? So this just happened to be in front of me. And I mentioned in passing Phillies Karen. And I look up, and here come all the calls, unsolicited, which is sometimes the best, right? It's like people want to be heard whether I've invited them or not. And the notations on the Rugiet Ready script are actually me making notes about the callers. Like you could never, I mean, that's more confusing than the Epstein birthday book, right? You could never decipher that unless I were unlocking it for you. So let me try and unlock for you what went down on radio yesterday. According to my notes, it was Ellen of Delaware. All right. It was Ellen of Delaware who said, there's no benefit to identifying her. Like, Michael, get off it. Why are you searching to see whether she's been identified? Said Ellen. Ellen, you know, in a good way, kind of reprimanded me and said, this is just not something worthy of our attention. Let it go. And then I said, well, but I'd like to ask a poll question maybe for today, Wednesday, which I did, although different than I envisioned. And, about what should be her fate. And I was spitballing. Should she lose her job? Should she be outed at all, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then Allison from Missouri called. And Allison from Missouri called and said, don't ask anything about her. Don't make her a poll question. Okay. And then Dan from Indiana called. And I misunderstood Dan initially. He said, don't let it slide. Like, oh, okay, he wants her outed. No, he wanted to know that there had been a non-public apology, that Phillies Karen had acknowledged the wrongful nature of her behavior, but had done so in a private setting, maybe with the dad, Mr. Feltwell, love that name, and his kid. And then Charlie called from Illinois. Again, I'm just going like right around the circle here. So Charlie called and he said, how do we know that she was wrong? How do we know that she was wrong? Because in the moment, she believed, based on her body language and the way she reacted, she believed that she'd been aggrieved. the way in which she quickly got over. Who's to say? Because I can't tell, zabrudering that film, I can't tell what happened with regard to whether she had the ball and maybe Mr. Feltwell pulled it out of her hand. I don't know. And I thought, Charlie, that was a good cautionary phone call. Then it was John from Toronto. And I was kicking myself because John said something that I do think about on a regular basis that kind of keeps me in check, but I didn't think about it yesterday. Patty Davis. And John said to me, like, this is the Ronald Reagan lesson. And I said, yeah, you're absolutely right. And so from my bookshelf, did I have Patty sign this when we were together? I hope I did. Oh yeah, I did. Yeah. Patty, Michael, it's been such a gift getting to know you. Best always, Patty Davis. That was when we had coffee together in LA last year. Anyway, this is a great book. Patty Davis, Dear Mom and Dad, a letter about family, memory, and the America we once knew. And I brought this in because of John from Toronto. And I just want to read to you. Let me just see where I should begin. Again, it's a letter to her parents. Both her parents are gone. Those Saturday ranch days had a predictable ending. We would drive back home to Pacific Palisades in the late afternoon, and we would always stop at the Frosties stand on the Coast Highway. We'd all get vanilla Frosties and eat them on the way home, trying not to spill them in the car. One day, Dad, you went up to the window with me to order, and the woman was very snippy at you. You didn't let it ruffle you. You were kind and polite to her. And as we went back to the car with our Frosties, I asked you why you were so nice when she'd been so rude to you. You never know what someone is going through in their life, you told me. She could have just gotten really bad news. Maybe she's sick with something. Maybe a family member died. You just never know, so it's better to be kind. I try to remember that in my daily life, but I doubt I will ever be as successful as you were, writes Patty Davis in this letter to a deceased President Ronald Reagan. And I have to say, it impacted me when I read it. I made her tell the story when she was here on radio, and I'm only somewhat embarrassed that John from Toronto had to bring it to my attention yesterday instead of me offering it to all of you. So yeah, there's that. And it kind of made me rethink where I was going yesterday. So yes, Phillies Karen is the subject of the poll question today. And I'm prepared for less voting than we normally get because you need to understand all this background to appreciate why I would say leave Phillies Karen alone, agree or disagree. But that's the explanation. And then there's something else that I want to tell you. So I've already shared with you Ellen from Delaware, Allison from Missouri, Dan from Indiana, Charlie from Illinois, John from Toronto. God, I love this show. But I haven't told you about Dave from Baltimore, because Dave from Baltimore then called. And Dave said, Michael, do yourself a favor and watch the Chick-fil-A training video. The Chick-fil-A training video, which is called Sugar Schnikes. I think it's Everyone Has a Story. I think it's Every Life Has a Story. Yeah, Every Life Has a Story. And by the way, this video, if it's not already on my Facebook page, it'll be there any second. Okay? It's a 2.5, 3 minute long video, and it's brilliant, and it brought tears to my eyes. It absolutely brought tears to my eyes because it is inside a Chick-fil-A, and people are coming up to the counter, and each one of them has a story that is represented in graphics. Male who'd been fired, female who's a new citizen, a cancer survivor, a single mom just trying to feed her kids and make a go of it. A girl walks by, young girl, her mom had died. A woman is sitting there, and she'd been married to a guy of 49 years, I think. Again, I'm just doing this from memory, and this would have been their anniversary. And on and on and on. I mean, it was hard for me to even get through it. So, yeah, it was really, I mean, just awesome suggestions from the callers, and that video will just, maybe it will do for you what it did for me today, which is just to slow me down. Slow me down. Because I am the service warrior, right? I don't take kindly to bad service. I told you the story about a celebratory dinner that we had in my family recently, where for me, it was kind of ruined by a waitress who just had a lot of snark. And I didn't say anything to her. But if it had been a different night, I might have. And I tipped her well, out of guilt that she would say something about me because I have a radio show. But, who knows what was going on in her world? Who knows what was going on in her world? And who knows what was going on in the world of Phillies Karen? So that's today's poll question. That is today's poll question. Leave Phillies Karen alone. Agree or disagree? Now, I'll just add a caveat, a footnote, which is to say that if there's more to the story and it wasn't just a bad day and, she's a bad person, and then I don't know, I'll have to reevaluate it. Well, let's just give her a break. Let's follow the lead of the Phillies' dad, okay? Mr. Feltwell, Drew Feltwell, who says, leave it alone. Leave it alone. So that was counterintuitive, wasn't it? Yeah, that was really counterintuitive. So, all right. Well, gang, holy smokes, man, that was a lot, right? That was a lot. But it's an unusual poll question. Leave Phillies Karen alone. Agree or disagree? I'm prepared for, 17,000 votes. It won't matter to me today. I do like to see that click go high. But I think this is just really worthy for those of us who were listening yesterday, watching me now, listening now to the podcast. But it's a strange one. Leave Phillies Karen alone. Agree or disagree? Next Wednesday, let's mingle together on YouTube, just like many of us are doing right now, 8:00 Eastern time. It's just an opportunity to spend a little downtime and have a conversation like this. Instead of being so regimented and driven by the clock and so on and so forth, because the Mingle Project needs to live on, and we all need to get out of our bubble. Okay? Maybe Phillies Karen gets out of her bubble and comes in here and chats it up with me, and we find out what's really going on in her world. All right, enough proselytizing. Enough proselytizing from the host of this program. Like and subscribe, please. Please like and subscribe. And set yourself up for notifications, because some days like today, I need to start early or start late, and I don't want you to miss a thing. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening to this podcast. See you on radio soon.